Welcome to the show. I'm Danella. Here's what's happening now. A new study, I want to say reason 1 million. Yet we'll talk about why you should be getting more sleep. Also, have you seen that new Gillette ad? They call it a short film. It's causing quite a stir online. We'll talk about it in today's show. And also, something that I say, it's not you, it's you. I'll go into more detail in a moment, but first let's kick off political pop. This week, unfortunately, a deadly attack by ISIS, literally on the same day as Vice President Pence says that ISIS has been defeated in Syria. Prior to this attack, there had only been 2 U.S. service members killed in Syria since the campaign started in 2014. Following that attack, Vice President Pence said this: "We will never allow the remnants of ISIS to re-establish their evil." ISIS is defeated, but then ISIS does an attack. Is it remnants, or does ISIS still exist? I'm DanellaNOW, and that was your political pop. Now, how many hours of sleep do you actually get? No, for real, think about it. Sometimes I say to myself, if I get a good 6 hours, I'm golden. I'm killing it. Well, there's a new study that says that you should be getting at least 6 hours of sleep a night, and that waking up multiple times during the night increases plaque in your body. Not just in your heart, but in your body. And when you're thinking about plaque in your body, think strokes. Reason 1 million, right? To get more sleep. So the next time someone tries to stop you from sleeping, you let them know, I need to sleep to live. In our world, Gillette taking the heat for a new ad. I don't know, they're taking the heat. They're also getting applaud. Have you seen it? It is what they're calling a short film. And in this particular ad campaign, they are addressing toxic masculinity.
Bullying.
The Me Too movement against sexual
Toxic
harassment.
masculinity.
Is this the best a man can get? Is it? We can't hide from it.
Sexual harassment is taking over.
It's been going on far too long. We can't laugh it off.
Who's the daddy?
What I actually think she's trying to say.
Making the same old excuses.
Boys will be boys.
Boys will be boys. Boys will be boys.
But something finally changed.
Allegations regarding sexual assault and sexual harassment.
But she says
And there will be no going back. Because we believe in the best in men.
Men need to hold other men accountable.
Smile, sweetie.
Come on.
To say the right thing. To act the right way.
Bro, not cool. Not cool.
Some already are. In ways big
Yo, men.
and small.
I am strong.
But some is not enough.
It's not how we treat each other, okay? Okay.
Because the boys watching today will be the men of tomorrow.
So what do you think? I'm curious. Do you think that it is just too politically correct online, seeing a lot of men complaining? They don't want to hear this from their razor, that they're jumping, Gillette's jumping on the Me Too movement. This is just too politically correct, enough already. But you're also seeing a lot of women saying, men, why are you mad about Gillette saying be good men? And a lot of women are saying, thank you. I know when I saw it, I loved it. I was inspired. I thought, I need to show this to my son. Literally, because they show so many different types of scenarios, obviously where a man can be catcalling a woman in a way that is just disrespectful. And I think many women know, right? We know a lot of times when men try to speak to us on the street and it is rude and disrespectful, and a lot of times it can feel scary. I mean, I can think of countless examples of that. But to see Gillette say these things, I'm thinking these things need to be said. They need to be said. And even when you see the two little kids, there's a period where two little kids are fighting and a parent steps in. And think about how often we let boys fight and boys also hit girls, and you say boys will be boys. Or even think about the times in which little boys, or you guys, a lot of men, you guys, my men that watch this show and listen to this podcast, how many times has someone said to you, walk it off? You're okay, walk it off. You're all right. So I don't know. I applaud Gillette. I applaud Gillette because you don't really see a lot of people saying these things about being a strong man. You don't really see it as much. And I feel that it needs to be said. So I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Now, I want to share something with you that I have been thinking about for quite some time. I mentioned it on Adverse Reaction. I may have mentioned it here, but just my New Year's resolution. I'm not sure if I did mention it on this platform. But for me, when I think about New Year's resolutions, I don't think about them in the sense of, it's the top of the year, what should I do? A lot of times I think about them in the sense of during the year prior, like what is the lesson that I need to learn? And then in the new year, implement that lesson. So one of those lessons is the idea of, allow people to think whatever they think about you. And so the new 2019 is, and don't be angry at them. That's the 2019. The let people think what they want to think about you. That started, I guess, the year before. And it's been one of those things that's been a battle for me, a struggle for me for some time. And that's why I want to talk about it here, because I think a lot of times we go through personal challenges and you just kind of keep it to yourself. And who benefits from that? So I want to lay it out in this platform and hope that this is something that can be helpful if you identify. And identify, I mean, in this way. You may not. A lot of y'all cats probably super strong and may not. But for me, for years and years, I also kind of just would walk this line between knowing what my intentions are, and then if somebody doesn't like connect to my intentions, really trying to work with them by verbally or by more actions and showing these are what my intentions are. And so as you start getting older in your life and more confident in who you are and what you do, like you're like, this is who I am, and I'm confident in what I say and what I do, right? Then you find yourself also being challenged at any point in your life, right? You're being challenged. And what I started to realize when people challenge you, right? And it's not just men to women or within races, but I think all of us across the platform, and that's what I want to address here. I see a lot of times people use negative attributes to defend themselves or to defend themselves. Why is it oftentimes, right? Men, I'll bring it up for you first. Brothers, I'm going to bring it up to you first. If you speak up for yourself in a job, a lot of times people will see you as combative, defensive, angry. He the angry black man. He always got something to say. But what if you're always saying something because something is always needing to be said? No one's saying it. Where you would see other people on a job of a different race and they would be considered a leader, strong, an advocate, right? Women, the same thing. If you stand up for yourself and you're on a job and you say, even if you're not standing up for yourself, you could be standing up for somebody else, or just saying this might be a better plan, or this is a better plan. Not might be, this is a better plan, or this is how I believe we should move forward. Then you are considered a female dog. You are considered aggressive. You are considered, she's got an attitude. She thinks she's all that, right? Or if you are persistent, someone else, if they are persistent, they will be called, that's a go-getter. That person is persistent. But then it could be used against you. And what are you called? A mom, a nag, right? And so then, even for men, it could be, what does he think? He's my dad. And so I want to bring it up here because I see it not just in the workplace. I also see it in how we interact with one another, how we interact with our families, how we interact with our friends. And I think on one end, it is always important. I think it's a kind of a two-step process, right? So on one end, you do have to always, whatever someone is saying, look inside yourself and say, is the action that I'm doing, the words that I'm saying, or what I'm physically doing, what is motivating that? What is the drive behind that? Really think about it. Is the drive ego? Is the drive fear? Or is the drive love? Right? And love could be even love for the other person. It could be love for, if you're at work, the project, love for the job that you do, love for even, paying your bills on time. You know what I'm trying to say? Figure out what that motivation is. And if it's not one of the negative ones, like I behave this way because I fear what people will say, or I do this because I got to take care of myself or nobody will. That's more of an ego-driven decision. But I feel that if the attribute that you are expressing is rooted in love or is really who you are, then we got to at some point just take it. Take it. Say what you want. Say what you want. I know what my truth is. That's the part 2 of that. That's the part that's my 2019 of also implementing, because for years I would be angry because I would feel like this. I've shown you this. I've told you this. And I've expressed this, but still you want to see this negative thing. And it would be frustrating to me. And I had to come to terms with really saying, no matter what you do or say, people will think whatever they want to think, and they have a right to think whatever they want to think. They have that right. And so then, now what can you do, right? Because all you really can do is what you can control. That makes sense? Because you can't control what people think. You can't control anything. All you can control is yourself. And so that's when I started to realize how important it is to truly accept who you are. So in this acceptance of, okay, I need to let people think what they want to think and also not be angry at them. It also started me to think about how we actually treat one another, and also look at myself and say, well, what are some of the ways that a person shows me who they are, and then I may make them retreat. And that's why I really want to pose on this podcast, right? Is, do you ever think about what ways that someone may have shown you who they are, but maybe you didn't like who that person showed you, and then you just may have done something or created an environment that crushes who they are or makes them feel small. Maybe it is on your job. Maybe it is your friend. Maybe it is a friend. Maybe it is a family member. Because I think there's so much language that we use and we don't realize the power behind language. A lot of jokes that we say, and a lot of this also, even with the Gillette ad, a lot of jokes are, boys will be boys. You got to make them a man. Stop crying. You're going to be a sissy. Don't be a girl. And it's not until we start to realize that a lot of this programming is just old programming. A lot of these things are to systematically hold us back from being our best self. So the only thing we can start to do is amongst ourselves take responsibility, right? Control what we can control. Control the language that we put out to our own circles. Right? And also internally working to accept ourselves and to love ourselves, even loving our flaws. Even loving our flaws. Makes me want to say, it's not you. It's you. Or it's not you. It is me. It's me. I'm all that. I'm going to take all that. If taking all that means that I can stand up for myself, if taking all that means that I'm not going to allow you to run over me, right? If taking all of that means that I'm going to stand up for what is right, for maybe somebody that can't stand up for themselves, then I'm going to be that. I'm going to be all that. And if we were in the 90s, you would be all that and a bag of chips. And yes, I took it there. Sometimes it needs to go there. Sometimes it does. Maybe not, but I think it does. So yes, I just wanted to share that with you this week. The idea of all you can really control is yourself. All you really can control is yourself. And we have to, as a community, as a society, start to eliminate negative programming that oppresses our brothers and our sisters. For women, for us not to say to men, why you acting like a baby? Maybe it's because he's expressing how he feels and he's being emotional. It's, oh my gosh, you're so dramatic. Well, if you say that, then he's not going to want to open up and be emotional. And then you're going to say, he never really tells me how he feels. And men too. For women, creating that space for her to be honest and vocal with you and strong with you. Create that space. And don't judge it. There's so many things that we can say. The list can go on and on. So that's my challenge to you this week, right? Go introspective for yourself. Anytime that something you're facing, anything, ask yourself, what is motivating me in my decision, in my action, right? Is it fear? Is it ego? Is it love? If you're ever wondering, am I making the right decision? Love is going to be that motivating force, that drive. Unquestionable, you're making the right decision if it's rooted in love. Then also, and as you're being introspective, am I being that way to my circles, my intimate circles? At home, on the job, out with my friends. And then, when you're receiving information, is what you're receiving, what is that rooted in? Same thing. Because we got to be clear. We can't just be walking around here, hurt people, continuing to hurt people. Right? We can't continue to do that. And it can't be everybody else. It can't be everybody else. We have to figure out what responsibility do we have and control what we actually can control, which is yourself. That's all you can control. I laugh because, man, if I could control stuff, I would be like levitating right now. That's my secret wish, is to be on a planet that I could be like David Blaine, levitating all day. I'd just be like, I'm levitating right now. All right, that's going to wrap up the show. I went entirely too far. Thank you for joining me again this week. If you'd like to donate to the show, you can do so securely by clicking the link on the top of the page. Emails. You can email me, DanellaNOW.com, and follow me on all social media platforms at DanellaNOW. DM me. Let me know it's you. If any of you I'm not following back, let me know it's you. DM me. I got you. I will follow you back because we're family, right? Duh. So if I'm not following you, I don't know it's you. So let me know it's you. Yes, as always, I hope you have an incredible weekend, and I will see you next week.